Before I start, I want everyone to take a moment to close your eyes. Picture what a scientist looks like to you. I want you to keep that mental image to yourself, save it, and reflect on what you saw after what I'm about to show you. This exercise we just performed was replicated with thousands of kids from across the nation. It is called the Draw a Scientist test. Of the pictures kids drew, there was quite a bit of homogeneity, with over 95% of the scientists drawn being white. Even more concerning is that out of the African American students who participated in this experiment, the number was near 100%, with almost all of them drawing your stereotypical old white male researcher. In other words, less than 1% of kids like me could envision someone like themselves as a scientist. What's even scarier is that these notions that kids have about what makes a scientist, as shown through this test, will inevitably trickle down to the next generation of young people, their students. So looking at these images inevitably brings the question, why is this the case? The answer is television. Popular culture's portrayal of scientists as old white males is detrimental to these highly impressionable children. This lack of representation eventually leads to these depictions being reflected in real life, something which the fact that not a single African American has won a Nobel Peace Prize in science is a prime example of. So how do we fix this? The formula for success in the STEM field is far more complicated than you think. It involves hard to define variables like privilege, access to resources such as computers and research equipment, and quality education. My high school had almost none of these things, so my friends and I started Hear the Youth to help bridge that gap. But how could we possibly learn about science, let alone lead normal lives in the midst of all the chaos from crime to gun violence that went on in my neighborhood? I want to share with you that story. One of the themes that kept coming up in our meetings was students' lack of internet access. So my friends and I decided to sit in at our next school board meeting, where we made these concerns known. However, looking around the room, we felt that almost no one there was representative of our community and the dire issues we were facing. This realization led to the culmination of Hear the Youth. We provided STEM mentorship to at-risk students all throughout Jacksonville and engaged in educational advocacy that brought us from Jacksonville's north side all the way to Washington, D.C., where we met with the U.S. Department of Justice and even Barack Obama. These were all things that before we never imagined were possible for kids like us. In conclusion, our successes in Hear the Youth were largely a result of the fact that we provided kids with a positive example of Black youth defying stereotypes that they could look up to. I want all of us to apply this concept to science, because every single one of you can be the role model who will inspire the next generation of young people to pursue STEM.